Rub it in everybody's face. Look at you. They counted me out. They told me I would never become this. I would never become that. And you want to be able to be this comeback kid, this storybook success story. And while I admire that, I love an underdog story. I love that. I lived it. Having done all those things, I can tell you as a 50-year-old man getting ready to turn 51, I don't look like I'm 50. And I certainly don't act like a 50-year-old. I act like a young man. I have a young man's heart. I have fun. I live life like an adventure. I try to deposit into all of your lives and other people that would be willing to listen to me a way of thinking, so that way you can, number one, count the number of your days and be aware that you're not here forever. And the things that you do and things that you say, they all have consequences. And there's an expiration date on everything. But you cannot time your success. I gave myself 20 years. When I first started, I gave myself 20 years. I said, I'm going to retire. Doing this, I'm going to retire. The markets will retire me when I'm 40. That was my plan. Now imagine me trying to sell you a mentorship. Okay, think about it. People laugh, say, oh, ICT's got you on this long plan. It's the long con. No, I'm realistic. You don't know what you're going to be settled in as a trader in 1 year. You sure as heck ain't going to be able to figure it out in 4 months. You're not going to figure it out in a workshop that lasts a month or a week. I tell you, you need to see a minimum of 1 year, because then you'll see a full calendar year. You'll see the ebb and flow of the seasonal tendencies that come in the marketplace, and when they don't form, how that's impactful. So it gives you an opportunity to find yourself. And within a year of without trading with real money, it allows you to settle in on one style, one approach that makes sense to you. And I can tell you, I made the biggest mistake by going out and trying to force profitability before I knew how to trade. I blew dozens of accounts. In the 90s, when I first started, I had no business going in there and opening up an account. No business at all. And I learned from that. And the students that have done really well with me are the ones that learned not to do those same mistakes. Are you willing to listen to me? Or are you going to be the guy that feels like, or gal, it feels like you're the exception to the rule? You're not going to be the exception to the rule. So don't waste time doing that. Invest in learning, invest in doing the right things, and allow yourself the comfort and the enjoyment of discovering who you are as a trader. You may not be a day trader, but you can use my day trading entry models inside of short-term trading or swing trading. I take you into the lower time frames to prove, number one, that it's not noise. 2, authorship. 3, that you can keep risk managed. You're going to lose. I lose. But you're not going to find who you are as a trader that you finally settle in. Okay, I promise you, anybody out there that would be either a supporter of me or talk smack about me, they did not learn how to do this in a year. They didn't do it in less than a year. I promise you, I don't care who's telling you what storyline. I don't care. I don't care. Okay, they did not discover who they are and settle in on that. Because if they did, they wouldn't be looking at my stuff. They wouldn't even care about anybody else. They would be just doing their own thing, and they would have receipts proving all that stuff. And they don't have none of that stuff. You are identifying with success as being seen as successful on social media. When successful people feel successful not being on social media. It's not really the best way of saying it. It's like this. When you're content and you're comfortable in your own skin and you know that you're successful and you are living a life that is abundant through excellence, doing the right things for you. Some of the things and the encouragements that I give or the approaches to trading may not be suitable for everyone. It may not be something that is designed just for you. So you have to go through a discovery of things that I'm teaching, and it may not be day trading, it may be short-term trading. But I think if you were honest, and we were in a room where nobody else could see her response, if I asked you what the definition of success would be able to show you getting paid out or profiting with live money and then showing that to the world. And then the response of the collective community online saying that, wow, you are successful, or I want to be like you. The amount of money that you're withdrawing is insignificant. The payout you're really looking for is public acceptance. And that's, as a young man, what I was pursuing. I wasn't motivated by the money because I had a 20-year plan. I wanted to retire when I was 40. So at 20 years old, when I first sat down, November 5th, 1992, Thursday evening, 9 p.m. at my aunt and uncle's house, I read my first trading book. That's when Inner Circle Trader was born. I had, in my mind, I accepted the fact that my uncle has been trying to tell me about it. It went full circle. Now here I'm working for a guy in Owings Mills, and he had an entrepreneur magazine, and I responded to a classified ad that had nothing to do with trading, and it turns out it's a guy selling a course on how to trade commodities. So if that ain't a sign from God, I don't know what is. So I just accepted it, that's what my life was going to be. And I stopped pursuing anything with computer science. I stopped trying to get jobs in the field. Nobody was even responding to my resumes anyway. Not once, not one interview ever. And I had a high GPA. I knew how to do this stuff, and I couldn't secure even an interview. So it wasn't meant for me. At the time, I was frustrated. I was so frustrated, in tears. I worked so hard, even from 6th grade, where I was writing my own code. I was making video games when I was in 7th grade. Not, PlayStation level, obviously, but I was writing code for small, simple little simple little playtime games that I coded myself. Hangman, simple things you could do with basic language. And for a 7th grader, all learned self-taught through books. To me, I thought that was cool. And that's all I ever did. Most of my childhood was me writing codes and writing programs and things, and pretending I was writing passwords and getting into databases that I created for my own stuff, which was really simply a collection of 45 records and LPs, which really were mostly my mom and uncle's LPs. So everything I did was just around numbers all the time. But the pursuit of needing to be more than average came from not having parents that cared for me and feeling lost once I lost my grandfather. And then my first wife left me, so I felt damaged. So I needed to feel like I was significant. I needed to feel worthy. Because my only memories at that time was I was not supposed to be born. My mother had to be threatened by my dad with a fatality if she gave me over to abortion. So God stepped in there. Remember, this is the same God that made Balaam's ass talk. So he can do that. He can do anything he wants to make something happen. You can say that's terrible that my mother was threatened by her life by my father not to have an abortion. And you can claim women's body rights and keep your laws off my body. Well, that's all fine and good, but we're talking about something entirely different here. My dad did not want me aborted, but my dad didn't want to be a dad. So figure that out. It was something else pushing it. So I was definitely supposed to be here. I had a purpose. I think you're all part of it. I think you're seeing it. I've never been more passionate about anything else in the world than the markets and sharing what it is I've been blessed with. But when I talk to you and I try to give you advice about how you should conduct yourself as a person, how you should think about things, I learned those lessons the hard way. When I was younger, I pursued materialism because I thought fast cars, wasting money, doing things with a lot of money wastefully would make me stand apart. And it did. It made me look like an idiot. I'm embarrassed to think about the things I used to do, but at the time, I felt like a baller. And my friends wanted to be around me, but in reality, they hated who I was. but they wanted to get what they could get from me at the time. And that's what many of you are not understanding. You think by taking yourself out on the social media, when you get successful and you start getting the payouts, you're not satisfied. Some of you already in your mind haven't even been successful yet, but in your mind, you know that that's not going to be the success. The success is to go out and rub it in everybody's face. Hopefully, you won't be caught up in the pursuit of trying to get rich too fast. Because look at whatever it is that you make at your job. I know it's not enough. Even for the folks that are like surgeons in my mentorship that do very, very well. They can say they're happy with what they earn, but if they could make more, they would be very pleased to do it. So enough is never enough when it comes to earning potential. But when you're learning, when you're trying to find consistency, when you're trying to find your way through this for profitability, you got to determine a low threshold for enough. Like you have to find that for yourself and be content with that, and then stretch gently outside that boundary for the next objective that you're going to strive for. Because you don't know where that threshold is that's going to cause you to snap and you break away from rules. And there's that little sweet spot that you have to discover for yourself. Nobody has ever talked about it. Mark Douglas ain't said shit about it.